Good evening, salot ina edlanot. Say hi, say what's up. Ushadzin on derladun. Happy Indigenous Language Day. I just found out doon zinek Indigenous Language Day. See. So hello to Nina Dene what's see? Say easy Dene edlanot. Hello, what's up? See Willa Janvier who shade nin Taylor's tours in Laloche, Saskatchewan. Clearwater River Dene Nation band member the Hislio and doon zinega Treaty 4 territories. No hal huntati da doon no haba guest we Jeresh Chiozi Mellissa Desjarlais Buffalo River Dene Nation and backstage he's doing hair and makeup getting ready for the show here Dene Yati podcast. So Mellissa doing addiction worker Nadab, I think Juliondi Jeresh Chezi Ehala now. Ani Thele the Alberta it's in that oil sands life bedonle kolehen so and then at the hen base kontur hon isi an nelu do thaland and sides in al yondela so egan bahal yes here dun zinege. So with that say hi, say what's up. Drit I no habaya tinint underneath outsi TB base e bruta.
Hi, this is Tina from the Northern Intertribal Health Authority Tuberculosis or TB program. Recently, there has been a rise in TB cases in NITHA communities. In addition, COVID-19 remains an ongoing battle as well. Both TB and COVID-19 can be spread through coughing and sneezing. TB is not spread through contact with surfaces, however, COVID-19 can be. Both may be present with similar symptoms that include cough, fever, and tiredness. You can also be infected with TB or COVID-19 and not show any symptoms at all. Symptom onset for active TB can be anywhere from weeks to years, while COVID-19 symptom onset can be as little as 48 hours to 14 days after exposure. If you are concerned that you may be experiencing relevant symptoms, please get tested for COVID-19. You can also request to be tested for TB if the COVID test returns negative. You are at a greater risk for TB if you have previous exposures to TB, incomplete or untreated TB, other medical conditions such as diabetes, chronic liver disease, or cancer, overcrowded living conditions, are under the age of 5 years or elderly, and or if you reside or visited communities with recent declared TB outbreaks. For more information, please contact the NITHA TB program at 306-953-5000 or visit nitha.com.
Alrighty, Tino Bonint underneath let's see TB base questions on what's in 953-5000. So with that, one will do. I will bring her in. Mellissa Desjarlais at Jeresh Chiozi. Hello, Mellissa Edlanant.
Hello.
Edlanant, you hear me good?
I can hear you, but you sound like you're in slow-mo.
Slow-mo. Maybe a res fight, Anders, huh?
I might have to leave and re-enter, okay?
Okay, I'll go do that. I'll entertain everybody here. You know, one of the things to inviting guests video is Wi-Fi. You know, a lot of northern communities and you see indigenous communities that see all over the north. Not Kelonela. You know, so that's why she'll come back in. Hello, Sharona Montgrant. Hello. So there she is back, and Bonuldio. Again, questions, it's in a. Don't be afraid to ask. Just throw it in the comments, and we'll get started.
Hi.
Edlanat Mellissa.
Asa stay like panan.
Nezun early on. I must see for being here doing then introduce it in Leo and Bonul.
My name is Mellissa Desjarlais. Jace Chotzi Dylan. I'm the NADAP coordinator here. I'm also a university student at the University of Blue Quills. I'm taking the addictions counselor program online. I'm 37 years old. I have 4 kids, 3 boys and 1 girl, and I'm going to be married in August 2023. And that's me.
Nezu. Nineo Nintai.
Sine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yans and nervous, Lanto.
No.
Yeah.
At first I was, but then after I thought about it, and you know, we went we've been through a lot together, so we made it almost 20 years now, so I'm pretty sure we can do another 50 to know.
20 years that's an out there.
2004 we started dating.
Shacked up, Dini, huh?
Shacked.
Yeah. Nezu. Well, hey, you know, a few more months away. It's exciting, Nezu. Good for you. So, Jones and you know, I was wondering what the lol NADAP worker.
Yeah.
Ani thela bonis thela nabadlanta.
I enjoy it at first. Yazi, I was a little scared. I was a little nervous. Overthinking it, of course, leaving a high-paying job to a job back home, and I had to kind of figure things out here and there. Like I never really seen myself as a person to work at a desk job, so it was a big change for sure. But now I've been there since September, and it's so worth it, Sabada. And I get to be home with my kids every night, and that's the best part of it all.
Nezu. Could do, I guess, September, about 8-9 months. Who's there? Baril Dino, Banarinia Jao, Nabason Telo.
Yes, it's really good. I'm starting to get familiar with everything terminology. Like, their school is teaching me so much. Um, like I read a lot about what I got to do, and it's just really, it's really kind of mind blowing for me the way it is, and it's like I feel like this is my purpose. So, I mean, I was a little nervous about how to go about things, especially working in your own community. It's like I was intimidated at first, like when I had my first few clients. I didn't want to say anything wrong, or I felt like I was tiptoeing because I was so nervous, and I just didn't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. So I think I kind of got it down though now.
Nezu. Obviously you do, because Ani Thelet, then ne team held Horlunder at roundup no ala. A Dres Chazen, Kui Koni Sinoni Ana Badlant any, and along with school in Eltsio, Ala, and now, you know, and then a hella a lot die. I'm sure you different lant and u then it can be draining, and lant u, how do you put it all together, and what was it like, and toward you Dirk Ani roundup who's there.
So first time I got hired on was September. November we had National Addictions Awareness Week, and that's kind of a big deal here in Dillon. We usually have events for the full week, and at first when we started that, I felt like we didn't plan it early enough, and so I used that to like everything that I could have done better there at that National Addictions Awareness Week. I used that for the AA roundup. I got some of my coworkers. We sat around, and I said, "Okay, this is what happened last time. This is what we're gonna need." So I was like, kind of just prioritizing everything, and then every time I was done something, I check it off, and then we kind of all like assigned each other little duties to do here and there, and it was really good the way we worked together. Like there was no, everybody pitched in and helped, and it was so things went smoothly, Sabada, when it was all said and done. But the only thing that I would do differently next time is take some days off after, because I was really, really tired after the full 3 days. Like Monday, we had a day off, but I still felt like I needed more rest. So the next time we put up something big like that, I think I'll take like at least 5 days just to kind of wind down.
Yeah, maybe it's like older and I think it's not just a heads up.
Yeah.
Right there. Durit, it was good. I told you see it Iberin Dina, Altila Jao Kedrid and Usilia. Uh Before that, yeah, you wanted to go into that field, Ellen, and even schooled any guy addiction worker.
Well, initially when I left work, I 2018 I started my journey in sobriety. I wasn't sober yet though. So I was working out in Alberta, and I just like Sabad was just kind of, I was just always thinking like, am I gonna do this forever? Like what are my next, like what are my bigger plans, So I was kind of in that state, and then I started to my son ended up, like, he was going into grade 10 that year, and then I started to think about it. I was like, I've been living the same lifestyle for so long. Like, I need to make a change. Like, my son's going to graduate in 3 years. And, like, do I really want my kids to, like, see me this way all the time, kind of thing? So I just slowly, like, kind of challenged myself little at a time to make changes in my life that I needed. And then finally, 2019 August, that's the last time I drank. And from then on, it was just kind of like I started to feel like I needed something different in my life, like there was more. So I was becoming like kind of unhappy, I guess I could say, because I felt like there was more of a purpose for me. So I left. I One day I was just sitting there, and then we had a couple of conversations before I left, and I was just sitting there, and I was just thinking to myself, like, I really wish that a job back home could be posted. And it was kind of weird how the next day this NADAP position was posted. So of course I'm sitting there overthinking, like, oh, how am I going to put up an AA roundup? How am I going to do this? I'm just thinking all these things. And then I just thought, sometimes you just got to give yourself a chance. Like, I know I'm a hard worker, but, like, I'm always nervous. I don't know for what. So anyways, I threw my resume in, and we did all the process, and I had to go for the interview. And I don't know who the other candidates were, but I prayed about it, and I eventually got the job. And then all of a sudden, one of my relatives messaged me, and she goes, "Hey," she said, "there's an addictions counselor program through Blue Quills online. Maybe you should check it out." So I was looking at it, and I felt really nervous about it. I was just like, what if I don't get in? I'm always negative self-talk all the time. I don't know for what. But anyways, I applied, and I had to go through all these things. I had to do everything, find my old transcripts. Like, I had to go under my house and dig through all my freaking junk. And then I finally found my transcripts. I had to do like a letter of why I thought I should go to school and all these different things. And I got accepted into the program, so I was happy. And it's a really good program, because I'm learning not only a lot for myself, but also to help others. So I like it.
Mm-hmm. Nezu. It's good. Kani, 3 years, huh?
It will be in
3 years.
August, yeah.
Okay. Okay, nen Aze Hudre. Before that, a new video you had a video, very emotional, Nezu. Very good for you. And but ja så halhulni that you know nabahon tuigra drodant and nikach out barrel yan lunat you know I'm sure it was not just one night, maybe you know want to see a boss that that made you say hey hunt to a boss the hell with this you know and Gani Nila wasn't for a year before I when you finally decided to.
Yeah. Well, um, I started at a very young age. I used to kind of be ashamed to say this before, but it is who I am, and part of being sober is honesty, being honest. And you know, ni yang, that's all I seen, you know. So when I was a teenager, like the people that I hung around with, they kind of glorified it too when I think about it now. And so at first it was like, okay, I'm experimenting, and I was like, you know, having fun or whatever, hanging around with my friends, and we were always like going out. And then I started at 13, and then probably I would say that I started like regularly drinking like every weekend probably by the time I was 17. Now when I look and see my own kids, it's like, holy crap, you know, like I can't even imagine them doing what I was doing at that age. So that was my life for a long time. Like I was sitting there yesterday, and I was after I was done the essay that I was doing, and I was like, holy crap, like I drank for 22 years, and it never dawned on me that I had drank that long. And in those 22 years, like most of the time, I didn't see that I had a problem. I always thought that I was maintaining it, and I always had these different excuses. And you know, I had sobered up once in 2011, and I had uh, fell off a year later. I'd relapsed a year later. At that time, it was what I needed, but it was not truly what I wanted. It was just some things that happened in my life that were very hard on me, and I knew like I needed to be there. And then I didn't. And when I think about it now, when I reflect back now, I didn't do any of the work that I was supposed to maintain that sobriety. So I did a lot of time, you know, always picking myself up, falling, picking myself up. And it was really I don't know how to explain it. Like before all this, deep down inside, I would be sitting there, you know, um drinking with everyone, and in my mind I'm still sitting there thinking everybody thinks that I'm happy or whatever, and I'm thinking like, what the hell am I doing? But I never really could ever express that when I was sober. I just, you know, thought that I had a handle on everything, and I just thought that, you know, that this was not a problem. And then one day we were boating around, and then I seen my kids were sitting there and they were playing, and I'm sitting there mixing my drinks, and it was just like normal to them. And then I just sat there and I just thought about it. I was like, oh, like what did I do? What am I doing? Like my kids shouldn't even feel like this is normal, you know? Like I just that was one of the moments where I was just like really disappointed in myself, and I was like, oh my God, like I need to do something about this. So there was then I started to think after I was still drinking after that, and I started to think about everything in my life. Like my mom passed away in 2010. The accident was alcohol related. Like a lot of my family members passed away. There was so much, everything that happened, like most of the traumatic things in my life that happened, all had to do with alcohol. And I started to think about it. I was like, oh my God, like, you know, this this thing has taken so much things away from me, so much people away from me, and I spent so much of my life, entertaining people and doing things that I was not proud of and everything. And then I started to really like whatever. And then it was about 2 weeks after that, there was a tragedy in my family, and that's what sealed the deal for me. I just thought about my children, and I was like, myself, like, I could feel that, that the alcohol was taking its toll on my body. I was having trouble getting out of bed, and I was like hiding it. I hid it really well too. So I didn't say anything. I didn't want no one to have any expectations of me, because I knew that if I had fell off, I was just gonna be really, really hard on myself, because when I relapsed that first time, oh my God, I didn't even want to see anybody. I felt so awful, and it was just not a good feeling. So I didn't put any expectations out there for anyone. I just said I'm gonna stop for 2 weeks. That was my goal, was 2 weeks. I did the 2 weeks. It was kind of easy because I had 1 week of work and then 1 week off. But my 1 week off, at that point in time, I was drinking maybe about 4 or 5 days off out of my whole time off. So I was like, I'm not even spending time with my kids, and like I barely even get to see them. So I was like, you know, I just had to prioritize everything, and I made that 2 weeks. I was happy. And then I just started thinking another 2 weeks, you know, and then a month went by, and then after that I was just doing everything with my children, everything that I possibly could. Like whenever I was on days off, if I went to Saskatoon or wherever, they came with me. I hung out with them every single chance that I had, because then I knew I had no excuses. Like I had to do whatever it was with them. So for the first 6 months, they were like my best friends. I let everybody around me know that, you know, I don't want to hang out. I deleted Snapchat for a while. I unfollowed people that partied and posted, and I did what I had to just not be tempted.
Nezo, I wasn't sure if treatment ito kung isinay there auto.
I went once. I didn't go again. The time I did it differently. I reached out to elders, my grandpa, my grandparents. I guess you could say even with my kids, like during that first 6 months in a year, I hung out a lot with my grandparents. Like I have 3 living grandparents. My grandpa, well, I have four. Ace is my grandpa too. So there's Ace, my grandma Margaret, my grandpa Emilien, my grandma Delphine. And I went, and I was thinking about it. I was like, in my in the time that I used, I never made time for them, even though they only live 5 minutes away. And they're getting older. So I started to hang around with them. I'll take my grandma, even till today, I'll take them out, like if they need to go shopping or whatever. I'll go take them around. Sometimes I have to take a little stool so my grandma can get in the truck. Like I try to help her and accommodate her the best that I can. And that was kind of the way I went for the first year. I didn't It was more like surviving and trying to stay sober for the first year.
Nezo, and nabadlant any like born nila din you. What did you learn at the first year that Aslan that's a new to, and then a lot of fear, or let's see, let at the Berlin.
Well, at first, I had really bad social anxiety. We went on a few trips out of the country, and this is when I got sober. We went to Mexico, and Mexico wasn't too bad for me. Like, I wasn't really craving for alcohol there or anything. But I was so aware of myself, and I was so self conscious, like around people that were drinking and stuff. I was like, even just walking around these people that were using or drinking or whatever, partying, I was just like, are they looking at me? Like, I was so not comfortable in my own skin for the first year. Like, I was just really, because I didn't know how to function without drinking. Like, when I was drinking, I was like talking to everybody. I didn't care who we were. But like now it's just like, oh my God, like, how do I do this sober? It was really hard. We went to Vegas too. That one was fun though, because I like to sightsee, so I went everywhere. I just avoided like clubs and stuff like that. I went to Grand Canyon. I went to like a shooting range. I just did fun things. And then the one where I felt really, really like unsure was when we went to the Dominican Republic. I went with my cousin and I was just sitting there and I was getting triggered. And then I was just thinking to myself, like in my head, I was like, I was feeling the social anxiety too, because there's like everybody, it's like everybody was out enjoying themselves, with their alcohol. But I know what it does for me. And I knew that, you know, I didn't want it, but at the same time, I was just sitting there. I was like, you know, even if I were to drink, nobody's gonna know. That's what I was thinking when I was sitting there. And then I was like, I'm many miles away from home. Nobody knows, and then I just thought, but I'll know. And I'll know that I'm not being honest. And it just didn't sit right with me. And it just so happened that was the last night. That was the last day I got to sit there. That was just before they declared the pandemic. I ended up getting sick. And it was kind of funny. Like when I think about it now, it's like I always try to see the good in things. And I was like, maybe the creator did this for me so that I wouldn't relapse out there. And I freaking ended up staying in bed for the whole 5 days of the rest of the trip. But they declared the pandemic and everything went down that time. I was really like, honestly, Willis, 2020 was a really tough year for me. Like everything was like this, like one after the other. And you know what? Like when I think about it now, it's like, how the hell did I even stay sober? Like with all the things that happened. But I learned a lot in my first year. I was really self-conscious. I was really like aware of myself. I didn't know how to function without alcohol. Like I had to relearn everything. Like even weather triggered me, or a song. Like if an old party song came on, I'm like, oh, I just want to go out.
Yeah, that's one of the things YouTube sees about us is my Ernest Moniaz. I never thought in Barista because that's what I used to do. Because all night, drugs, YouTube, just all alone, and that was one of my things. So cut that out, and Nazim, good for you to be able to do that. Dennis, I just want to highlight this. Dennis, they think they need to go to treatment, and
Mhm.
to get clean. It's not like everybody like then a hell curse, like, okay, I need to go to treatment. Well, hey, you know, I've got a few friends that have been to the most expensive ones, and I met them when they're on their third one. So, and that Arsenal and it's in you, and obviously Arsenal and it's in you. You have a culture. Only see a bars on the la. So good for you to be able to do that. And do and nene aze. That's very good. I'm proud of you. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Do nakenen azu. First year, second year. Na badlant. You decided, okay, I'm gonna leave the oil field. And don't when you reflect back, I know that video really showed it today. TikTok is it was it posted today? I saw it today, anyways.
Last night, it was posted last night.
Yeah, and when you look back, it's just and then and don't do see banani the nabadlant at hey, it's because it's not always easy. It's just
That's
about the one
that's the reason
moment.
why I post all the content that I do. Like at first I used to feel like I was too much, like maybe it's too much, but then I think people need to see that it's not always sunshine and rainbows in recovery. It's it's ugliness sometimes, it's crying, it's, doubting yourself, it's wanting to just give up and, just say, and then that video that I made last night, I was fine. My friend left, and then I was sitting there, and I just started to think like we're learning about uh, traumatic events. It's called adverse childhood effects, and a lot of us have been through really traumatic things in our lives, and then I used to feel so like ashamed because I didn't finish grade 12, but nobody really knew my life at home. There was a lot of things that went on, and I don't mean this to disrespect my parents or anything, because I know they're intergenerational survivors too. They've been affected, so I don't mean this to disrespect them, but this was a life that I seen, and a lot of times I would go to school, I'd be hungry, or like some heavy things happened, at home, and it was really hard. So I was like, I dropped out of school. I wasn't happy about it. I was in grade 11, and I could have just finished in 1 year, but I didn't. And so when I was sitting there yesterday and I made that video, I just thought about it. I was like, I'm going to share this with my Snap friends, because I post a lot of my stuff on Snap. And then I just thought, you know what? I'm going to share it on my TikTok too, just to show people that, you don't always have to do things like, finish school, get married, or get a job, get married, and all this way that we're taught. Sometimes it's okay to do it backwards, like you don't have to be so hard on yourself because you didn't finish school, you didn't get married at a certain age, or all these different things. Sometimes some of us aren't raised with like parents that were stable, so our lives are affected by the choices they make, and it makes it hard for us to function. I learned that from my own kids too, like, every morning, like if I'm grumpy in the morning and I wake up and I'm grumpy to them, they're going to be grumpy too. So it's all how you are. And some of us, like, I make it, it's kind of like a big thing in my home for me to tell my kids that I'm proud of them, because when I grew up, there was no emotions. The only time I seen emotions was when people were drinking. So I always say to my kids, I'm proud of you every day. I love you. It was really hard for me to even to hug them before. And if they came to me for a hug, I was like, like, and I used to, like, I noticed that about myself right away. And I was like, I had to apologize to them a few times, and like, I'm sorry that I did that to you, my boy. Like, I just need to learn how to, be emotional, because I didn't know how to be.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. Something I'm still learning too. Like, I'll get upset and just like overreact, and then it takes a bit, and I'll say, okay, I apologize for doing this, but this is why, and kind of explain it too. And very good, Nazun, that there you're very self-aware, and natusi haril din, it's very good to see, and especially then if it's holnire on a platform that you create, then and
Hmm.
you share yourself, you put yourself out there, and that's another thing too. Um, the Basinesa, because you're very brave. I want to tell you that, and courageous, because a lot of people can't even do that. They just don't get an opportunity, or even say, hey, you know, um, because I'm sure social anxiety, it's, and then to go and post this publicly, it's you're very brave, Nazua. I'm happy for you to be able to do that.
Thank you. It was very it was kind of uncomfortable for me to do it, to be honest, at first, and then I just thought my purpose in this world, is to help others right now. And if somebody can take one thing from something that I have said or done, then I'm doing something right. And that makes me like, I don't know, I just feel like a lot of times, a lot of my peers, my age, like our age, the generation, we don't give ourselves enough credit, and we're a little bit proud to show what we how hard we work to get to where we are, you know and I just feel like, sometimes people will come to me and say, like, I've only been sober for like 1 week, and then I just look at them and I say, you know what, that's 1 week more than you were last week. It's a big deal, because sometimes, there's people out there that are struggling and can't make it a day, and I pray for the people to, whether it's a day or a month or a year, I just pray for everybody that struggles with an addiction, because it's not easy, especially right now. It, coming out of the pandemic, it really affected a lot of people. It even affected me. Um, so I always pray for others. And when they try to downplay their sobriety, I tell them, like, no, you should be proud of yourself. That's a big thing. You don't downplay your sobriety. Like, 1 week is a long time. 1 day is a long time. Sometimes we don't even know if we're going to make it that day. Every day when we wake up, we don't know if we're going to make it that day. But that's what we're trying to do every day when we wake up. That's the goal.
Yeah, one day slides, and last year's critter, their pandemic. So you pretty much during the pandemic, and you know, then not even an hour thala.
Hmm.
Some people are just. Do you think now that there's some ethical things that you gotta follow, but do you think now people are that way just on a personal level because of a stigma,
Hmm.
karin nila sa kunan liu bahalni yao, and I can attest to that because I lived that too. So do you think because we're shown this, people are afraid to be sober because there's a stigma attached that they might be better than the other, or what do you
What
think?
I think is that there is a stigma. There is, I know, like, some people are are not wanting to be vocal, or like shy to attend things like AA meetings or AA gatherings or things like that. I'm not sure where it comes from or why. Like, I know it was really, really, for my own personal experience, it was hard at first to say that I was an alcoholic, because we don't want to see, well, I didn't want to say that, because to me, my idea of an alcoholic was somebody that drank every single day, sitting on the side of the road with a brown paper bag, but that's not the case. I don't know where the stigma comes from, but I do feel that there is a stigma around alcohol and recovery. Like, some people are a little bit, you know, afraid to come out of their comfort zones to say things. And I think, I don't know really know how to answer that, but I know there's a stigma. I can agree with that part.
Yeah, Nazumi, and to Banani the other day. It's just on my personal experience, Gare. I always thought it wasn't possible, but doing Zinege, there is hope. You know, I always admire the people in the first day, even Gani, and you just bring that up. So, it's very good to point that out. And I want to say I'm very proud of you. Nezuna basine doing zinega selling you and to be able to share this sitting platform get denashanda be nela. I'm sure one thing tanta yaret are yet oras iha, from your story. That's what it's all about. And especially Dene Yati, Dene Dintao, and to be able, put that all together. um Dene Yadena Niha. So, it's in Balang Liao. I want to say Masi Cho once again. Can't say that enough because Dene not usi they're it's tough, but you're doing it. And then on top of that, you're putting yourself out there to be able to do this stuff. So Nezu na basine. Nese Yatini aren't in a banunus.
Well, I wanted to say thank you. I really I didn't know the side of you that I know now after you came down to the community as a guest speaker, and I really appreciated that. And listening to your story was really inspiring too, because at the same time I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even know he was going through all these things. I didn't even know he felt this way. And I'm honored to be here. I'm really glad that you asked me. And if there's ever a spot in the future, like, feel free to reach out again. And I'm glad that we connected. I feel like we crossed paths for a reason. And thank you, and anybody out there that's watching. I didn't really see comments, but thank you for tuning in, and just be proud of yourself, whether you're sober 1 day, 1 month, 1 year. You know, in recovery, it's messy. We don't always get it on the first try, but we eventually get it. It took a while for me, but I'm here almost 3 years sober now. So I'll leave you guys with that. Marcy Cho, and thank you again, Willis. I really appreciate this, and I hope everybody has a good night. And Willis, if you come to Dylan this weekend, you get a free pizza from me.
Melissio pizza.
Yeah.
Nezumasi masi.
Okay.
All right, Mellissa Desjarlais Adila, and I always believe Dene like Aniko dear that we meet people at certain times in our lives. It's not coincidence, Dane the creator. That's how it happens. And Dene Betsy hon nihul nide it somebody takes something away that ilosi. And I always uh, I'm male, she's a female, but our stories still connect. Asalt, Alberta's in Alan now. I was there for 14 years doing this. She was there a long time. And then we just happened to be there. I was already in school and I went to work for a bit and right there. And now she's on her way too, and Nezula, it's very good to see her doing what she wants to do instead of Tamba. There's fear involved that you seek an aid daisy. At least that's how it was for me. Doing class it's not about that. Aside I sant I do gabin dane, that's what it's all about. So I slides in 1 hour, whatever the way you got to break it down. It wasn't just like Mellissa Sisabare. It was a couple of years before I even got sober that the seed was planted. Then I saw Benia there's hope. There's hope for you out there. And hey, just reach out to somebody that you're able to connect with and trust, and kunt usie. It's always good to see. So Must-see Cho or Sium, Mellissa, Melissio Pizza. Go buy her pizza. I won't be going to the north because I've got Sunday in North Balford, so I'll be there. And maybe another day for sure. I'm gonna bring her back because it's always see, I'm a student, a social work student, so we kind of there's always something we can always chat about. Yeah, masi choner usiu salot in a dunes in a genoal huntadult, yeah, denesa sanin de laja through technology, through the pandemic. We've been able to do this asa on Indigenous Language Day. Dunes in a no hayatie bagaho diu te no hayatie ni neolid dint even yas at a color. A lot of times people will say, hey, do it this way or do it that way. It's like, okay, don't do this is how I learn. Maybe in honoring the people before us, we can say, hey, can I help you? Maybe we can do this together because there's so many Dene people everywhere. Honor the language and the new people too, because they're still learning. Some people weren't able to given that choice. So with that, Masi Cho once again. Dun tethega teu tesu si willis janvier hushe ninte las tuazi. Lalash says Saskatchewan, yes, Treaty A territorial, the Clearwater River Dene Nation band member, and Dunzaniga Treaty 4, home of the Cree, Métis, Sioux, Assiniboine, Lakotas, all beautiful Indigenous people. Have a good night.